Hey everybody, it's Bobby Medina here with my very dear friend and cohort, fellow host, Paul Barron. And today we're bringing you guys an exciting product launch here, or not necessarily a launch, but a whole product line put out by a great trumpeter friend of ours named Frank Huber, and he's the owner of Huber Music, and he's both a commercial as well as a classical trumpet player. And we also have with him Jon-Eric Kellso, who's another friend of ours as well, who you've heard play on the last interview. And John is like basically a walking history book of trumpets, styles, and of mute design and studies and all that. So we're really glad to have you guys here. So thanks for taking time out of your schedule. And I will let Paul throw out the first question.
All right. Hey, welcome, guys. Frank, it's like Christmas here. You've got such an amazing line of mutes, and they all sound really great. So today we just want to kind of go through and share with everybody all your amazing mutes. So can we start with the mega mute, because it's something that I've never played before, and I'm not really sure what to do with it or or in what style to use it, but it sounds so cool. I just want to go back on all these recording sessions I've done in the past where I'm going, oh, it's just not the right mute, but I don't have the right, I don't have it with me. And here you've covered all the colors you could possibly imagine. So let's start with this and talk a little bit about that.
Great. Yeah, so the Mega Mute was, I think, kind of the third or fourth mute I started developing. I started with the Robinson style cup and solo tone, and I've always seen the Mega Mutes floating around. I've never owned one, unfortunately. And they're typically, most of the guys I've seen that buy them have been trad jazz guys. I haven't seen them written in any shows. I'm sure you've never seen them in any shows or anything. So yes, it's pretty much like that trad jazz scene. It's an interesting sound. It's almost like a straight mute inside of a megaphone, but there's a lot of spacing inside that has to be adjusted. So John fortunately has an original Shastock Mega Mute. And yeah, as you can see, it's like I said, it's definitely a unique sounding mute. I don't think there's much written call for it, but there are a lot of opportunities, I think, in the recording world. And that's also kind of a goal that I have with the lineup now, is just kind of having as many possible colors and options as you need. And the more
I think that's something super cool about what you're offering, because you're giving almost kind of unlimited colors, sound samples that we can play with. Hey John, how does that, what year was the original one there that Shastock made? Do you have an idea?
I'm not really sure, but I would guess the 20s. The only knowledge I have of recordings or samples where this is used was in jazz in the 20s and into the 30s a little bit, but a bunch of early Ellington things had guys using this. It's not the wah-wah stuff, but some of the kind of pretty melody solos that Freddie Jenkins might have played in the Ellington band, or I can't think of the other name right now, but
Lunsford or any of those?
Yeah, it's not. I bet some of the early Lunsford things might have used it as well. But,
so I'm assuming you guys have been able to maybe possibly improve on this from the old one, to maybe correcting maybe pitch issues and evenness of playing and all that.
Yes, on some of the old ones, I know the lower register wasn't always locking in that great, and at least from what I've heard from John and Josh Rzepka's also, he has one that he was nice enough to A/B for me and give me some comparison notes on. And he was saying the same thing. The lower register is a little bit squirrelier on the old ones. I think the general consensus too is the newer ones project a little bit more than the old ones, but I think the sound profile is pretty much the same though.
I think he improved it. This one, the low register isn't happening. This is the old one. There's no low register at all. And here's Frank's version. So you get the idea.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
it's
definitely
kind of,
recognize that sound. And Frank, you were saying you probably wouldn't see it in a show. I've seen parts that have had Mega Mute on it, and I didn't know what it was. So I'd stick in a cup mute or a straight mute or like, hey guys, what do you think? I don't know. So you kind of just throw in anything. So now I know.
Yeah.
And now I'm
Yeah.
that.
I'm the same. I mean, I've never actually. I'm like Frank here. I've never seen a call for it, but I know that sound. It's almost like when you hear, like when I was a kid, I was like way into like Little Rascals and stuff like that. And you could hear a lot of those sounds. And of course, back then the trumpets were different bore sizes and all that. So there was a certain just kind of a sound of that era. Well, let's talk about another one of your mutes that we kind of want to spotlight here, and this is your straight mute, which I think is really cool. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it, because I think everybody would love to hear about it, because actually when you think about this, you actually get like 3 mutes in one. So give us a little bit of the background on this.
Yeah, so the straight mute started out, it's like a mix of a Robinson and a Shastock straight. The bottom of it, you can unscrew it and take the basses off. So I have, at the moment, there are 3 bass options. You have the smaller bass, which gives you more of a Robinson style sound. The larger bass adds some color to it. So I know some guys are, using that for different excerpts or parts of the show. And the third bass I have has the kazoo resonators on the bottom, so it gives you that buzz bass. So you got a mix of like a buzz and the straight sound. It's not like a pure buzz sound. I'm hoping to be adding in some more basses in the future with brass, copper, and aluminum, and possibly wood. I'm working that out. Still, it's been a while in progress, but once that's out, it'll be interesting to see if it really brightens up the sound or not.
I really enjoyed playing on this with the buzz feature on there. Hey John, can you give us a couple notes with that, just showing them with the buzz feature, or you can actually compare them if you want to.
Sure.
Just
okay. I just took off the straight mute thing and zoom.
It's sometimes it's a little difficult to hear the actual the nuances of it, but I'm sure
it can get this really buzzy kind of sound. And
so what kind of
I'll show the folks there. It's got the membrane and there you go.
So what kind of a playing situation would you play that kind of a thing in, John?
Mostly like a combo setting where I want to get something kind of different happening, or sort of a almost humorous kind of a sound. Roy Eldridge used one once in a while. He used the I think the Humes and Berg Buzz Wow once in a while. Actually, the guy Jordan Sankey has Roy's old Buzz Wow mute.
Oh wow, that's cool. Do you want to give us a quick little sample with just with one of the basses on there as well? I think it'll be too difficult to really get the nuances between the basses on this little tiny microphone, but maybe point away just a little bit from the microphone, and then that'll give us a little more clear sound there.
Thing. That's with the original regular bass.
I like them because the bottom end's nice on them. They're clear, just even sounding.
Yeah. It's a subtle but interesting.
Yeah. It's a little more mellow. It takes a little bit of the edge off it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's great to have those options. And what was the other one we were going to talk about? I think it was the step.
The step wah.
Yeah, the step wah. So this is interesting to me. You know, we were talking earlier before we started the interview that it doesn't come with the stem, but it does have a stem inside. So, Frank, can you talk about that?
Yeah, so it comes with it's a fixed stem on the inside. There's no, little cup like you have in the Harmons. And this one was a little bit of a backstory. I had someone who had purchased a few mutes from me had emailed me asking about, do you know what this mute is in this video? And it was a Sweets Edison video with him playing, and I could make out the step outline, and I emailed about 10 guys, and they emailed about 10 other guys each, and I finally found one person that knew what it was. So I started designing it based off of, like, I think 2 photos and the 1 video. And about a month and a half into that design process, John managed to find another John Hallam out in he's in the UK, who had just found one after searching for 30 years. So the original mute was made by Lou Davis Mutes, and it was the Nat Ganella, I think Nat Ganella Wah mute or Wah mute, maybe, John?
Yeah, I think it was the Nat Ganella Wah.
Yeah. So he had happened to find it and surprised both of us, and he offered to send it out for me to really dial in the final design of the step wah.
So were you pretty close when you were basing it off of the images?
Yeah, it was surprisingly close. It was a few, I think 5 millimeters off in a few different directions, but it was way closer than I thought I was going to be. But it was a lot of guessing, okay, so Sweets is sitting there playing on, from the 40s, so the bell's got to be a certain size, and measuring that, and then figuring out the diameters and distances, and it was interesting, and I got kind of lucky with the original design. But
well, what I notice is this mute is punchy. Paul and I were talking about we do some pretty big shows, and sometimes they're outside, and sometimes there's no monitors. Sometimes you don't know what if you're even coming through in the mix or whatever. But even just from the standpoint of just being able to hear yourself, once in a while I can see, and I typically take my brightest. If I need a Harmon style mute, I'll take the brightest one I have, just so that I can hopefully ensure that it's going to be out there and heard somewhat. But this is going to be one I think that I may use for occasions like this. Plus, it's just kind of cool. I kind of like it. It's different. Another color.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the punchiness comes from having that stem, the fixed stem going all the way to the brim. Because in a lot of Harmons, they don't go all the way to the top of the mute. They go, a little bit further down, so you get more mute body sound rather than direct that buzz and punchiness that you're hearing.
So, John, can you give us an example of playing a standard Harmon style and then the step wah?
Sure. Yeah, I don't think the step wah was really trying to be a Harmon mute. I think it's similar but different.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's an old Harmon. And then to compare the Harmon without the stem.
Very
cool. Or in between, it's almost like a bright cup mute, sort of. A little bit.
You have the original one there with you, don't you, Frank?
Yeah, I have it.
Let's take a pic. Can you hold the other one, yours up against it, just
let
to
me
finish?
Let me grab it from the desk quick. Yeah, so there's the not get his address in there, but there's the 2 of them together.
Yeah, that's
hard to tell with the white, but
yeah, that's cool. That thing's seen better days, hasn't it?
Yeah, the fact that you found one though is still amazes us, because it's I've never seen one online.
No, I haven't either. No, that's really cool. Well, you have a lot of cool things. Let's talk for a minute about you have a Ray Robinson cup mute in here, which I love. I gave one to a student years ago, and he took off with it, and I've been kind of always wanted to have one, and so now I basically do have one. But you, in addition to that, you have the line here as part of the line, and this is kind of a prototype I think I'm holding right now, but an adjustable cup mute as well. And you have one with a standard type of back on it or cup, and you have a scalloped one, and you have another more of a bowl featured one here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this and the design and what they do, because it's pretty interesting and these sound great.
Thanks. Yeah, so those I'm still developing. I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks or so to be releasing them. The idea with that was originally just to have, multiple cup options without having to bring multiple mutes. And it looks like it's going to be coming with, 3 cup options: the bowl shape, which is that quasi Shastak style cup, the felted one, which is a quasi Robinson style, and the scalped one is just more is for that brighter sound for a big band setting, or if you need to really cut through a section. So yeah. So I've been getting a lot of feedback. Originally, I was thinking of only offering one body. I sent you guys, I believe, 2. And what I'm finding is that longer body, some guys are preferring over the shorter one because it's a little bit brighter, and again, it cuts more. So if you're in a pit situation, it'll have that slightly brighter sound to it.
Oh, these bodies are different lengths.
Yeah, they're different.
I hadn't realized that.
Different lengths and different tapers. So that shorter body actually gives more volume to the cup, so you get more of a cup sound rather than the straight sound.
I'm also noticing that is in a different spot too.
Yeah. So it turns out I'll be offering both cup bodies on that, along with the 3 cups. And again, the idea is just to offer as many colors as possible without having to lug around a million different mutes. So you basically get 6 different mutes with that combination, plus they're all adjustable. So you can use it in your C trumpet or your D flat if you want, or your B flat, and still get the cup where it needs to be.
Now, and this ring here, this is adjustable, right?
Yeah, you can move that. That's so if you have like 2 positions that you're playing on in a show, and like a really close position and a more open one, you can set it and mark it, and then you can adjust the cup back to it easily.
Excellent idea. Great.
I'm I like this. You have so many here. I mean, you have this mellow wah also that's very cool. It's a little bit different. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about that right away while you're here?
So yes, the mellow wah started out as me just wanting to have a complete Robinson set. And I put out some feelers on Trumpet Herald or something, asking if anyone had a Robinson mellow wah at all. And someone I think they had a Ingram restored one for them. So I got like this really nice new restored one, and loved the sound when I got it in. Some of the intonation was very quirky, which apparently is a mellow wah thing. So that was just, again, trying to improve the intonation issues of the originals. And I believe the Humson-Berg mellow wahs they bought Robinson out at some point, and it was the same mute. But the intonation issues kind of continued with that, with the buyout. So that was, tweaking the inside a little bit to get the intonation better. The sound is pretty much the same as the original Robinson I have, though, which is pretty cool.
Well, I think that's one of the greatest things here. I mean, you have these traditional sounds that you've recreated, but you've taken away all of the negative parts of the old mutes, And the thing was, they were made out of different materials back then, right? They had fiberboard or whatever it was back in those days. And, what's kind of interesting for me, and I don't know what you think about this, Paul, but I mean, there's kind of, when I see something these are 3D printed, right? So, at times when I've seen other things or heard other things being played, or maybe played a different one, it had this very, for lack of a better term, plasticky sound. And these don't seem to have that. These have more of this organic, natural sound like the real ones. But like I said, with the issues gone, they play all the way down to the bottom. They're nice and even. They're in tune. Your octaves sound great. So I think that's cool. Do you have can you play a couple notes on one of those? Do you have one of those handy, John?
Sure. The mellow wah? Is that...
Yes, the mellow wah.
Yeah. Yeah. The cool sound.
I love it. It sounds great. You sound great, John. I just can't tell you how much I love hearing you play the trumpet. Oh man. So, I know we're kind of want to keep this to a certain length here, guys, but why don't you just briefly here, why don't you mention everything you got in the line so far, Frank? And if I'm not mistaken, you probably will be continuing to make improvements and add to it. So why don't you just bang it all out real quick, and we'll make sure we write down underneath this post of your URL and all that stuff. So
sounds good. I'll do my best to remember all of them. I've got the Robinson Cup, the Robinson Straight, and with the different basses, the jazz bass on that, the buzz bass, solo tone mute, which is based on the Shastak, the Mega Mute, the step wah mute, the mellow wah mute, the buzz Pixie, the Pixie with the round bottom, and the come on, John, you got to hurry up, and the Pixie with the flat bass too. So that's the current lineup, and we have hopefully in the next couple of weeks that adjustable cup that we were talking about earlier coming out, and a couple more things here and there on the way. And I'm also working on a trombone lineup at the same time, which is just going very slowly because of COVID and not being able to hand it off and hear guys play it. So that's eventually that'll happen. But
and if people want to go to your website, what's your website?
It's www.fhubermusic.com, and the Facebook page is the same name at the end of facebook.com. So
I've got an idea for another product, Frank. I'm just looking at all of this stuff and how amazing it would have been to have it all with me, in sessions where the producer's going, we want a different sound. Could it be more mellow? Could it do this? Could it do that? I think with this whole lineup, we could do all of that. Whatever whim somebody has, you've got the sound for it. Now you have to come up with a Huber Music tote bag or mute bag to be able to pack all of these around.
A mute trunk. There was a time many years ago, and Bobby Shue, when I was a kid, would go up to his house and take lessons and stuff, and he had this gigantic leather, it was like a, the bags that the sailors use and the guys in the army use. Yeah. It was like a big giant one of those. And one day I said, "What's that?" And he lifted this thing up and he poured out this mountain of mutes. And he said, "This is what I take to my studio sessions because I never know what I'm going to need and who's going to be playing and what mutes are going to be playing." So, yeah, something organized like that. I mean, that might be cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, thank you guys so much for taking time out to share this. These are, for everybody out there that might be watching, these really are truly unique and quality products. And I don't just say that lightly. We don't just have anybody on here with their stuff. I mean, I think, Paul, you would agree with that, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I just wanted to say one last thing. I can't thank you enough for the solo tone mute. I've been on so many shows or whatever where they ask for one, and I dread it every time, just picking it up. And I've actually practiced a full half hour of routine stuff, playing my Clark studies on the mute because I enjoyed the intonation so well. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you like it so much.
Well, thanks so much again for being here, guys, and we'll look forward to seeing you again and maybe talking some more about some new mutes. And we love having your input on our Facebook groups, and all this will also be available on our YouTube channel. So everybody check it out, and be sure to go check out F. Huber Music. All right, talk to you guys soon. Thanks.